There's a real gift in being able to observe or witness non-judgmentally how you're showing up in any given situation. Hello, my name is David McLeod, and I'm here to share with you a presentation about today's message from my program, The Magic of I Am. Thanks for joining me. When I get all caught up in the drama and story of my ego mind, I sometimes find it difficult to disengage from that energy, especially when I slip into old habits and try hard to defend my position or get someone else to agree that I am right and they are wrong. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Sure, we all get seduced by our own self-righteousness every once in a while, and self-righteousness can be very seductive indeed. The need to be right used to be pretty strong within me, and I'd have to admit that there was even a kind of addictive quality that kept wooing me into my self-righteous patterns. Turns out that I have a pretty powerful mind, and I'm capable of constructing compelling logical arguments. But what I found even more delicious in my process happened when the logic failed to make the case. That was when I could revert to sarcasm and shaming and other tactics to try and make the other person feel bad, and they would usually capitulate and grant me victory. But in time, I realized that the victories were usually very shallow, and eventually I stopped enjoying them altogether. What I've really learned over the years is that being right isn't nearly as important or meaningful to me as I used to think it was. So I've been able to reduce my inner need to be right. How did I do this? Through the power of intentional awareness. That is, by observing and witnessing my own behaviors. As I've said here before, nothing changes until it becomes what it is. That is, before I can change something within me, I must first recognize it as something I want to change. And this means that I must first accept it as it is right now. And in order to accept something within me, I have to be willing to suspend my judgment about it. That is, I have to be able to see it for what it is, without any story or interpretation or conclusion attached to it. Think of a scientist who is trying to learn something about bees and flowers. To succeed at this understanding, the scientist must first observe. What kinds of flowers does the bee go to? How does the bee approach the flower? What does the bee do after visiting a flower? How does the bee appear before and after it visits a flower? You see, these questions are filled with curiosity, the main quality that leads to learning and understanding. They're open questions, and they don't assume anything about the bee or the flower. And this is critical to non-judgmental observation. Suppose, on the other hand, the scientist starts with an assumption such as, I wonder if bees are looking for other insects to eat. Now, because there is a hypothesis built into the observation, the scientist approaches the task with a very different perspective. As the bee approaches a flower, for example, the scientist may try to see what kinds of insects are already on the flower, and this will lead to a situation where the scientist misses what is actually happening between the bee and the flower. Well, this is kind of what I did. I took a metaphorical step back for myself and simply asked myself the question, how am I behaving right now? When I got an answer, I asked other questions like, what am I feeling right now? What is the story that's going on in my head? What is motivating me? Once I got answers to those questions, then I could go a little deeper within myself and ask even more intense questions like, what's the deep need that I'm trying to fill right now? Well, the more I did this, asking questions non-judgmentally from a place of total curiosity, the more I was able to understand my own behaviors. And in my understanding, I was able to find other ways to fulfill the deeper need that I had, ways that did not involve shaming or hurting other people. It seems obvious now. You know, you have this power too. You can observe yourself from a place of loving acceptance, and you can witness all your behaviors and thought patterns and underlying wants and needs and desires. And you too can decide what, if anything, you want to change. Enjoy a wonderful week of loving observation.